Thank you everybody for coming to today's forum. How can City Hall and CPD increase disclosure and transparency?
When we're talking about police shootings, when we're wondering why we're all here today, you know, the fact is the average is 1 police shooting per week in this city for the last 29 years. All right. Okay. So also, you can go on Citizens Police Data Project, which is like the database from Invisible Institute. You can see the officers who have the most complaints. You know, there's an officer on there with 68 complaints. There are a couple dozen officers with more than 40 complaints, maybe more than 2 dozen, I think. All right, so that's why people don't have faith in the investigations process of police, because there's data that shows no police are disciplined. I mean, in Calvin's case, the one that resulted in that database, police literally argued in front of the judge, we don't look at this data in order to do management or discipline of our officers. We don't look at complaints data. And so like then to get out here and publicly say we're all for transparency and accountability, like give me a break.
We live in an age where literally walking down the street there could be 3 or 4 or 5 or more different kinds of video that are recording our activities. So there's necessarily a great interest and demand on the part of the public particularly when there's something like a police involved shooting, to know, one, is there a video? And if there is a video, what does it show? And people want to get that information out as quickly as possible. And that's understandable.
So the argument is that the video will somehow show a lesser version of the truth than a witness would tell. Now,
that's not right. That's not right at all. The social science on this is that because eyewitness testimony is so unreliable in ways that I think all of us would be shocked about, given the social science. The danger is that the videotape will fill in gaps in memory or otherwise influence what the person believes that they remember in a way that's completely inconsistent with what they remember.
First of all, I don't know anyone that has any faith in any internal investigation in the Chicago Police Department for any reason. Independent police review authority almost never finds an officer guilty of anything. If by some miracle they do, and they move to fire that officer, and it makes it past the superintendent rejecting that, and it gets to the police board, they fire about 1/3 of those. So I mean, you're talking about an infinitesimal small number that they're ever going to sustain. Let's get around that. We got to get around that system and get stuff public. And hopefully, by making all of this public, that will in turn make the accountability system better. I've been in this now since 1996. I've been going to police board meetings. Nothing's changed. We did research. We know from 99 to 2008 they fired about 1/3 of the officers. In the meeting recently with President Lightfoot, she said it was about the same. So that hasn't changed. IBRA's numbers just got released on a massive database. Those numbers are atrocious. The way to build trust is just to be completely transparent wherever we can. I'm not sure that a videotape should be released that night, but in the Van Dyke shooting, IBRA and the Chicago Police Department was out of that case within 9 days.
When you are alleging putting an allegation against a police officer and it's not adjudicated for 5 years, 6 years, the timeliness is out the window.
So why is it taking so long?
You would have to ask someone that's not here.
I can answer that.
Fortunately, he's apparently unburdened by the facts. Here, let me talk about one.
Better get a chance to respond.
I'm sure you will. Let me talk about one. It's just because somebody did something 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever the CPA allows doesn't necessarily mean that they are guilty of whatever it is. But not knowing that, I think, puts the board in a very difficult situation. But
That's for sure. I should have known when they filed the cease and desist order on us on our police board website, so it shows you how much they like transparency. One of the first actions was to try to show
our name, Tracy, and making a website.
You don't actually, well, if you want, we can talk with lawyers. You can't steal a public body's lawyers. You can't steal a public body. But anyways, first of all, I didn't hear what facts we messed up. But second of all, I think there's either they don't know or there's a dishonesty going on here. Okay? When a case typically takes 5 years, and I don't want them to take 5 years, I think they should take longer. But when IBRA gets an investigation, or OPS from the years ago, and it gets to it might turn criminal, they can't investigate the officer. by rule. They can't force a statement from him. So they hand it to the feds or they hand it to the state's attorney. If they take 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years, there is nothing IPRA or OPS can do. The case sits. That's how the rules are, period.
I live in the 19th district. We have shootings in some parts of it. We also have Wrigley Field. During the playoffs, we had hundreds of police officers out there. There was an assault, an aggravated assault on my street. Several people called 911, and nobody showed up for over an hour. I called the district later and said, why did that happen? And they didn't have an answer. The police are not accountable to the people. You know, the logo on the side of the car says what it says, but that's not the reality. It is a leadership and a culture problem.
Why do you want to destroy records but not let out evidence and videotape?
Advocacy is actively in a legal you're actively in a legal battle right now with the city of Chicago to destroy and delete all public records and police misconduct files prior from 5 years ago. So we're here to talk about transparency. How is it increasing trust and transparency when you're deleting all of police misconduct files in the city of Chicago?
They haven't been deleted yet. That case is still there.
So,
But thank you.
we would love to carry this on. We will continue this conversation.